I'm at day one of the Central Washington University New Music Festival, where my percussion quartet, The Spaces Between, is going to be performed on Sunday. Last night, after hosting the first Niente Forte concert of the season featuring Maya Bernardo, I got up really ass early to make a flight so that I could get here for the first event, which is going to start in about a half hour. I flew into Seattle and then took a bus to get to Ellensburg, which took about 2 hours, and I am pretty tired. I also decided to go super cheap and navigate this area using public transit. City transit here is completely free, and it seems like it's pretty extensive, so I've been able to see a little bit of Ellensburg through the eyes of the bus routes that I've taken, and I've also had to walk around a little bit in order to get to my Airbnb and also navigate this campus. I've seen some interesting things already. CWU has an aquatic facility. I also passed by the stadium, which had some interesting lighting, and either the tennis team or some tennis classes that was going on the tennis courts on my way over to the music building. I'm also assuming that CWU has a marching band, because why else would there be this painted field right outside of the music building? The first event is a featured composer talk that's happening at 4 p.m. and then there's going to be some chill out time before the concert at 7. I did find out that there is one small casino in the area which has like 3 poker tables that on this day spreads limit games that are like $2.20, and I might, after the concert and any kind of socializing is over, see if I can either take public transit or Uber over there to play a little bit of cards while I'm here for these 3 days. But for right now, I'm going to wander around the music building and see if I can find some people, and then go to this composer talk. Here we go. Turns out that the marching band is just about to have a rehearsal here. So after having just gotten out of the talk with Texu, so I might hang out for a little bit, because why not? I can do my own thing. It's 10:45 p.m. Pacific time. I've been up since 2 a.m. Pacific time, and I'm not that tired. There was a lot of stuff that happened today that was stimulating. I went to the talk by the featured composer, Texu Kim, which was a really nice presentation, and he is a really nice guy, and he had a lot of really insightful things to say about his life and his career. I got a chance to see the marching band rehearse for a little bit, because they have a home game tomorrow in the middle of this festival, and they rehearse on Fridays, I guess from 5:30 until it gets dark, because they don't have lights in the rehearsal field, so they have to stop rehearsing when it gets dark.
Wildcat fans, get on your feet and show your school spirit with the family of the
The marching band reminded me of a different version of the Tulane band. It's about 90 or so people, and they have the same sort of strengths and some of the weaknesses that the Tulane band has when it comes to some of the details, in ways that made me feel pretty nostalgic when I was teaching at Tulane bands. And then the first concert happened. The pieces on the concert were really nice. There was a decent variety in instrumentation, although there is more percussion than what I've seen at a couple of the other festivals that I've been. I think that might be natural because one of the co-organizers is a percussionist, and it seems like there's a pretty strong percussion studio here, so there's more stuff that they're able to and willing to put on as an overall faculty, is my guess. I'm not going to complain about that, because I like to see percussion spotlighted more in general new music festivals. The post hang was pretty fun. It was 6 of us at first, and then 10 of us, I think 9 or 10 of us, including Texu, that came out, and one of the organizers. I asked the organizer a bunch of questions about how it's gone from her perspective, especially year 1 to year 2, the things that she's learned. And she was very open about it and very willing to talk about it and really passionate about what she's trying to do here. And it was really nice. And she was delightful. And Josh, who's the other one that runs the percussion ensemble and also the co-director, we had a good chat about my piece that's going to be performed on Sunday. I'm pretty excited about it. He seems pretty confident and comfortable with it. And based on what happened at the first concert, I believe him. First concert here set a really good precedent for the kinds of performance that they have and the kind of work that they put into making sure that the performances go well. And so really excited about these next couple of days. It's going to be a marathon, but it's a nice little festival out here. Hey horses, chilling out. It's Saturday morning, day 2 of this festival. I just got to the bus station where I'm going to pick up the 12 line to go onto campus to get me there about 20 minutes before the first concert. It's a crisp 40-ish degrees, which is a nice change from New Orleans, where I'm sure it's still in the mid 70s, maybe even lower 80s. And this is clearly a small town overall, since most of the time that I walked through here to get to this bus stop, I ran into no cars for the first 5 minutes of the walk into the little neighborhood area, and then even just a few cars coming down this major road. There's events today at 10, 2, 4, and 7. One of the events, I think the 4 o'clock concert, is going to feature a piece by David Crum. And I imagine that he's going to be here since University of Oregon is not that far away. Something random happened at the first concert yesterday. There's a violist that was playing on 2 of the pieces on the concert. And when she went on stage, first I noticed that she was wearing a really amazing skirt. It was very colorful and it was in stark contrast to her black top. But as I was looking at her, I realized that I vaguely recognized her. I chalked it off as being maybe I just saw her in passing, like at another new music festival performance or was a part of a different community. I didn't recognize her name. But after the concert, I was congratulating one of the composers who I've gotten to know a little bit, who had his piece performed. And she came up to me and said, "Hi, do you remember me?" So, and as I was actually up close to her, I realized that absolutely I recognized her, knew her in some way. But I thought, did I see her at New Music Gathering in Portland? And she performed there and we interacted and I somehow forgot about it. But no, it was that around 20 to 25 years ago, I was her oral skills teacher when I was still teaching at the University of Oregon during my master's degree. And that blew my mind. And it was nice to see that she has gotten into new music and did a fantastic performance of both of the pieces that she was on. I think a measured difference between CWU as a Div 2 school versus, say, Tulane, that's a Div 1 school, is the fact that there is a home football game happening today, and I believe it's happening in that stadium over there. And even though it's not for another 3 hours, there's still no closures of roads or any kind of operations or anything that I see over on this side. Now, granted, maybe tailgate is way on the other side of the stadium and other things are going on that I don't know about, but it just feels weird when I'm used to the New Orleans operation where they start blocking off streets even the evening before. Just got out of the 4 p.m. concert, and which was a guest artist, clarinet professor at the U of O, along with a pianist who I don't know where she's from. It was a lot of really athletic music, and also featured a piece by one composer that was invited to the festival named Kara, who I found out also graduated at the U of O. So I think that at some point we're going to trade stories about our experiences there to see if there's any kind of similarities to our experiences that happened there. Right now, I've got a little over an hour to kill, and because the home football game is starting in 15 minutes. I'm actually wandering over to see if maybe I can find a way to break into the stadium and hang out for a little bit, or just experience some of the stuff that's happening here and just watch the operations, because we're all going out after and I don't want to be too full of food. So we'll see exactly what happens. If the game is even a cheap ticket, I might just buy a cheap ticket and just go in and experience it. Oh, but I have a bag. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But next concert's at 7, then socializing, and then tomorrow will be the last day. It's been a great experience so far. So I got to watch the band a little bit as they were in the stands, because even though the stadium is enclosed, it's primarily enclosed by a fence on the sides, and so I was able to stand by the fence where the band was in the stands and hear them play a little bit.
And 1, 2, ready, and...
It's interesting how different the aesthetic is, because it's a Div 2 school, how that affects the overall operations, every detail of how a football and I'm sure a whole athletic program runs, that the band and the fandom and all that stuff is still the same. It's still college football. It's still something that can rally a community in sometimes good and sometimes bad ways. But generally, I'm pretty supportive of what athletics can do for a community. After living in New Orleans in 2008 and being a part of the 2009 Saints Super Bowl season. So good on them. And yeah, it's a pretty interesting place. I kind of miss it out here in the Pacific Northwest. Too bad that it's not in scope for me to ever move out here or spend any significant time out here. They just played a classic Scare Tactics stands tune. I don't know that I've heard the Scare Tactics shorts for over 20 years now. I think that's when they're on defense. It's about 11:30 on day 3, the last day of this festival. I've got about 45 minutes before my sound check, so I'm walking over to the Starbucks to grab a little bit of food and also to practice walking over there, because that's where I need to go in order to catch my shuttle back to the Seattle airport, and I will not have a lot of time to do it, so I need to make sure that I don't get lost. The featured composer of this festival, Texu, was nice enough to invite me to lunch, and I said, well, I've got my sound check soon. So he said, well, do you want a cookie right now? So he gave me this cookie so that I had something to eat, which was incredibly nice of him. He is such a nice and a sweet person, and it's been a real great pleasure getting to interact with him and all the other people at this festival. I haven't had a chance to talk a lot about the stuff that happened at the end of day 2, because I was really tired after the after-concert social, where I got a chance to converse with a bunch of people from the festival, particularly some people that teach or went to school at the U of O, and we were able to share some stories, and it was a really great time. I just got out of an interview with a student who is a film major, who decided that he wanted to use my piece for a student project, and since I happened to be here, he did a nice little half-hour interview that he's going to turn into a 2-minute video, because social media content, he's very into efficiency and short attention span, which I respect. He seems to know his business. So it was fun to get to know him and to be a part of the interview and to get to know some of the other people and meet the students that are playing my piece, which they all seem very nice and all seem to really like the piece. And that's also very gratifying when the performers of your music actually like your music. Just a small creek here that runs between the music building and some of the student dorms. And where my pickup spot is at the Starbucks that's over on this side. Just got out of the sound check, and man, they did a great job on the piece. I'm excited for the performance. It's going to be read really well. They're really happy with it. I'm really happy with it. It's going to be really great.